Well, hello out there. How's everybody doing? It's everybody's favorite conservative in New York, Christopher Wright. I present you with one of my momentous walk and talk videos. What's today's walk and talk video going to be about? Well, you can't really tell by the background. Well, maybe you can a little bit, but I'm not in New York. I'm in Georgia. So some of you might be asking, well, Chris, what are you doing in Georgia? Well, not just that. In fact, I was born here, Hinesville, Georgia. Wasn't raised here as a military brat. My family's from here. But I'm here because it's election time, and the Trump team reached out to me, and they want to see if I'll be interested in coming down to Georgia to pretty much, knock on doors and canvass, and I'm all on board. Because if you guys have been following me for a bit of time, and some of you guys have, you guys remember the video I did after the election in 2020, which, I was very upset about, and I finished it like a stolen election video. And what I said is I knew pretty early on that the election was stolen. In my opinion, it still was a stolen election in 2020. And what I used to prove it was the state of Georgia. Because, like I said, my family's from here. I lived here in my early 20s for 5 years in the Marietta area. And during that time, I was still young, naive, a Democrat. Long story. But I was knocking on doors for Obama during the whole Yes We Can era in '08. And, to make a long story short, I, was knocking doors for quite a bit of time. And after knocking on doors, I stood in a line at a church for about 8 hours with, a lot of black individuals, and not just making race up and just bringing it up because of the fact was a lot of us are talking about Obama and how we support him. So I know a lot of individuals on that line that day were going to be voting for Obama. So, I, in my head thought that Obama had a really good chance of winning Georgia in '08. So during when election day came, Obama ended up losing Georgia by like 8 points, something like that. He got blown out. So I was like shocked. And when I looked at the details, I saw the area I was in, like Fulton County area I was in. It was a little blue dot in a big red area, which is Georgia's big red area. So I learned that Georgia's pretty red. And if you look at the history of Georgia when it comes to the last president who was a Democrat to win it, it was Jimmy Carter. And you might say, well, why was it Jimmy Carter? Because Jimmy Carter is from Georgia. So, Biden winning in 2020, I already knew, like when he wouldn't call Georgia for Trump on election night, I'm like, something's wrong here. Something's really wrong. If they're saying Biden is the first Democrat since Jimmy Carter to win Georgia, come on, give me a break here. And, Obama couldn't do it, but Biden can. Like, stop the nonsense. So, that was a big deal. And, if you look at Arizona, you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at a lot of other states, there's evidence that the election was stolen. But that's not what this video is mainly about. I just really want to say that, that the main situation that what we got to do now is do something about it as American citizens. We, the people. It's time for us to stand up and do something like that because we're facing a real enemy here. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are, pretty much admitted socialists. And if you look at the policies they support, it's socialism, which is communism. Let's just be honest here. And, what Trump is up against, it's serious. So, I'm knocking on doors. I'm not going to preach from ivory tower, say, oh, this is what you got to do, and da-da-da. I've been talking about we got to get out. We, the people, got to get out and do things, make things happen. Well, here I am doing it. I got my billboard, clipboard right here. Got Trump with end inflation, secure the border, get tough on China, stop child indoctrination. So, that says it all right here. And we all know what Trump's policies are, if those have been supporting him for a period of time. But it's time for us to really enforce them. And it's time to back them up as American citizens to make sure to get done. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm out here knocking on doors. If you can't do that, consider phone banking, poll watching, poll working, whatever you feel you can do. There's a lot of things you can do right now to get involved. And I'd say stay involved, next year, become a committeeman, a district leader. And that's how everyday Americans can get involved in politics. And at one time, if we all can do that at once, I feel we can really bring change because they have to listen to a voice if we all come together at one time. So that will be for next year. So that's what we can do after Trump gets elected. So I'm thinking ahead of November. Don't just think this is Trump to put it all on Trump as one man to carry us. Of course, we got to fight to get Trump in. It's fight, get Trump in office. Once he's in office, you got to think ahead. And once Trump, of course, has his second term, what are we going to do after that? And, that's how we got to think right now. So, like I said, I'm somebody who's dealt with this issue as a child when it comes to communism. My dad being an Army major veteran. I saw the Berlin Wall fall as a little boy in Germany. So I know the seriousness of, what we're dealing with. And I feel a lot of it leaked over from that, the Soviet Union situation falling apart and people had citizens that came over here, legal immigrants that came over here, might have had, they were done with it, but they had children or grandchildren that might have picked up on the communist ways. It's found its way over here. It doesn't matter how it got over here, but the fact is it's here. And, it's something to be taken seriously. You can't run from it. People are telling me, Chris, just leave New York, just move down south. I tell people all the time, I can run away from it now, but eventually it'll be down in Florida and Georgia and all these other states. So I'm down in the south now, but I'm down here knocking on doors, because they're trying to say Georgia's a flip state. And the poll numbers are trying to say that with the poll numbers, Georgia's a flip state. And I'm like, how's that if Georgia a flip state? So I'm like, that's why I'm saying, let me get down there and, get knocking on doors myself. And if anybody in Georgia or near Georgia wants to get involved, please leave something in the comment section, or shoot me an email or a message. I got my contact information on my YouTube channel profile information. So just reach out to me. I'll show you where to get involved. It's going to be in all the swing states. The group Patriot Grassroots is the name of the group that I'm with. So if you want to get involved, they're in all the swing states, and now in Georgia as well, obviously, and I'll point you in the right direction. But like I said, they're trying to say it's a flip state, but I don't believe the polls. The polls try to say Hillary was crushing Trump, and we know how that ended up. And the polls now are trying to say, Harris is slightly ahead, she's slightly down. Don't believe the polls. Don't get discouraged by the polls. Just make sure you get out, fight for Trump now, and get out and vote. Early voting, I'm highly recommend it. I'm telling people all the time, get out and early vote. It's not, beat them at their own game. I'm not playing, election day. Don't take any risk. If early voting is, if you're somebody who just wants to get it done, get out there, early vote, get it finished, get it knocked out, and, let's get Trump in office. But, of course, election day, get out there, do what you got to do as well on that day. But let's get out there in droves, let's bring a red wave, and let's get Trump in office. Because, like I said, this could be the most important election, in my opinion, in American history. So, it's time for the American people to come together. So, like always, may God bless everybody out there listening, and may God bless the United States of America. Peace out.